Hey guys, welcome back to Harman Art TV. So in today's video, I'd like to talk about art fair tips for artists in the UK. So welcome. We're here with the sheep. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what I've learned from my experience in participating in art fairs as an artist myself. So things like preparing, marketing, and the kind of things I do whilst at the show. And I thought I'd make this video because I think experience has been my biggest teacher, and I've learned a lot from doing these art fairs. And I mean, I'm not perfect at them, but I thought I'd just share what I've learned so that hopefully it can help artists who are also looking at participating in an art fair and the things that they can look out for. So let's get to this. So I'll start with the first thing. I've got my list again. So, what have I learned? So I'm going to go through preparing first. Or shall we go somewhere else? Okay. So preparing. I think that's really important because obviously when preparing for an art fair, there's so much work that goes into it. So these are the things I've learned. So I think first of all, I think you've got to think of, what kind of art fair are you preparing for? What kind of art will be on display there? Is it going to be abstract? Is it going to be figurative? Is it going to be landscape? And then think about, okay, will my type of art fit into that context of the fair? Because I've realised from doing some art fairs, if there's mostly, we just did one recently in Bath in the UK, and most of the art there was just landscape and figurative. And so I kind of thought, well, maybe my art doesn't really fit into this space because my art is mostly abstract. And so I think that's a good thing to think about, because this will then, the type of art at the art fair will determine the type of collectors that go to that art fair. So if it's all landscape, there's probably a high chance that most people that will go to that art fair will be looking to buy landscape paintings. So there'll be landscape, collectors. So I think that's something to think about. Another thing to think about is recreating the space of your booth before the show. And this will give you an idea of how all the works will look in your space. And I found this was really helpful. So if you can create a space, like a mock-up space, and then see how everything fits together to plan in advance, that's also really useful. And then make sure your art is securely packed, ready to carry, to install and take down. Want to make it as easy as you can. And then obviously you got to bring tools and fixtures to hang the works, furniture and that kind of stuff. Bring payment devices like card reader. You want to give the customer as many options as they can to pay. And then think about how you're going to get there. You're going to drive there, you're going to get the taxi, bus, train. Think about that, because time is kind of energy, really. I mean, we used to take art with us on the train, but it got to the point where it was so exhausting because you're carrying all this heavy stuff that we just thought, okay, we're going to get a taxi. It's a lot easier, and plus we could take more stuff. So think about how you're going to get there as well. Another thing to do is bring food and drink. You got to maintain your energy. That's really important, because you're going to be standing up for possibly 8-9 hours a day, for 3 days, maybe 2 days. So you want to maintain your energy. And another thing for preparing is just, think about making the environment comfortable for yourself and other people. If you make the environment comfortable, welcoming, that can also help. So think about, how you can do that. And it also makes it comfortable for you as well, because, you're going to be in that space talking to people. and you want to feel comfortable as well. So marketing is really interesting. I've actually, something I'm still learning about. So I found out from other artists. There's a interesting artist called Rafi Klee. They're based in America, but they had this interesting idea. They said you could create flyers or posters to dot around in different places, like businesses, like shops, cafes and restaurants, to promote your art fair. And they just mentioned, have fun with your promotion and think outside the box and think about what would make you want to come to the show. So I thought that was really interesting, because that's a kind of inexpensive way of doing it, just making flyers and then put them out in local businesses that are close to the fair. So that's from an artist called Rafi Klee, and I'll try and leave the description in the link below, and you can also check them out. So yeah, thank you Rafi Klee for that one. Because even I'm still learning. And also, if you're part of an artist membership, you could also ask to have your info shared on their platform. So like, I'm part of a couple of memberships like ISE and Art Access and all those different global art kind of groups, or sometimes UK based. So you can ask them to see if they can help share your information. And then a final thing for the marketing is paid ads. This is kind of typical thing you'd expect in advertising. You pay for ads in like Instagram or Facebook just to get the word out there to reach more people. But I think if I was gonna I think this is something I need to work on a bit more, but if I was gonna run through my marketing again, I'd probably create flyers. I think that's quite interesting, the Rafi Klee idea, because it's inexpensive and something you can easily put together, I think. And it's probably, you can probably have fun with it as well. So yeah, that's the marketing side. So that's like preparing and marketing from what things I've learnt. Oh, and before I end that section, also if you have a mailing list, don't forget to send the news out to your people on your mailing list 1 month before and 1 week before the show opens. So at the show, what have I learned? I've realised, just smile, invite people to your space, be casual, not too serious, and just have fun. Invite conversation. That's what I've really learned. Just have fun, and obviously you're going to have high expectations. You're going to think, oh, I need to sell this, and yeah, that's all good. But just remember that I think the main thing is just to have fun, and even if you don't hit your expectations, you don't want to get to the point where you're bringing yourself down because you didn't hit your expectations, and you never really know what's going to happen in the future from this fair. So even if you don't sell anything, it doesn't mean that you failed. It just means that you've learned something from the experience, and possibly people might remember you. They might come back to you in the future and say, oh, I remember that piece, do you still have it available? But just try and have fun. That's what I've learned from doing these kind of things, just have fun, enjoy the moment. In terms of a UK perspective, I think what I learned is don't talk too much about the inspiration behind the artwork, especially if it's like dealing with like political issues or things that are quite sensitive to talk about, because I found this can kind of scare people away. Coming from a UK perspective, I don't know what it's like in other countries. Maybe in the US they're a bit more open to talk about these things. But I think what I've learned is just ask the viewer what they see in the artwork. To invite those conversations and ask if there's something specific they're looking for. So yeah, don't talk too. I think just don't talk too much about the inspiration unless they really ask for it. And then don't be too sales driven, because you don't want to scare people away. Be comfortable in your clothes. Make sure you wear comfortable clothes. And then take notes about how to keep improving your booth for future shows, and I think that's really important. just keep learning. I realized, like, the last time we did Bath Art Fair, we had a couple of pieces on display. It was really minimal, and then we learnt a lot from that. I realized, okay, we need more variety, more price points. You know, I put like a carpet in the space to make it more home-like, inviting. And so I really learnt a lot from that experience, and that was just by taking notes and going around talking to other artists. So just keep learning, you know, and get to know your neighbours whilst you're at the show. You know, talk to your fellow artists next to you, and because you're going to be there for 2-3 days, and you know, it's nice to have some company and learn from each other. And what you could do, you could also bring a sketchbook to make yourself look busy, to keep people comfortable. I found that at the show, I don't want to be standing like in the space. I want to be behind the space to let people feel more comfortable. So you could bring a sketchbook and do some drawing. I also saw artists at the fair like do some painting in their booth. So that's another way of engaging the people who come in. They can see you making your art. I suppose that's one interesting idea. So yeah, that's the things that you could try at the show, or the things that I've also learned whilst being at the show. So that's quite a lot on the list. I try to be brief, but there's probably a lot more. But overall, you know, the biggest takeaway I've learned is just have fun. You know, don't take it too seriously. So don't get to the point where you're going to get completely bummed out if you don't meet your expectations, because, you know, sometimes it just doesn't happen. But it doesn't mean you failed. It just means you're learning and you're constantly evolving. And I think, you know, doing an art fair can be expensive, anywhere from £300 to £1,000 here in the UK or over. You know, so it's a big commitment, and but I just feel, you know, it's also, you know, you might not get all of your money back, but just because you don't get all of your money back doesn't mean you should just give up. You know, it just means that you keep learning. And I think sometimes you just got to spend money to learn, because otherwise, if you don't do these things, how are you going to learn? You know. So, you know, sometimes real life experience is the best way to learn these things. But yeah, I mean, have a budget, prepare in advance, but just have fun. That's the most important thing that I've learned. Just have fun, and people will gravitate to them. So anyway, yeah, that's a wrap for this video. I mean, I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've got something out of it, and I just really wanted to make it just to give tips to artists who are thinking about joining an art fair here in the UK, especially for the UK, because I think although it might be similar in every country, I think in every country we all do things differently. So I'm just talking about it at a UK perspective. So anyway, that's a wrap for this video. I mean, if you have any questions, or if you can relate to this, feel free to drop a message below. I'd love to hear your thoughts, and if you like what I do, feel free to subscribe to my Patreon, and you'll get access to exclusive content, behind the scenes, merch, videos and more. So you're welcome to check that out, and I'll see you in the next video. So take care of yourself. Bye bye.